Hello, folks. Just going through this. Ghislaine Maxwell says she grew unhappy with Jeffrey Epstein video, and it was aired on Court TV. You can see there, Court TV. So, listen to how the fella there describes it.
Newly unsealed court documents in the federal sex trafficking case against Maxwell are revealing disturbing details about her alleged role as Jeffrey Epstein's madam.
Right. So, big case. Obviously, what's gone on has gone on. It's not cricket, as they say. So let's hear a little bit more, because it's interesting when it gets to the spokesperson woman, and that's no derogatory mark on women. I'm just saying that it's a particular type of woman. If you listen to the accent and you'd understand the reasons, you'll work out who's behind all this. Like, it's a managed case, and it comes from the Dutroux case, the Jana case. Why hasn't Prince Andrew got his own case? Why isn't Britain doing anything about this? How is Epstein being the single figurehead? Too many questions, but let's continue.
We'll break down those details for you in just a moment, but first, Julie Grant gives us the background on the case that people are watching all around the world.
So here we go.
It's an indictment more than 2 decades in the
Sensational.
making.
Maxwell was among Epstein's
Hear that?
closest associates and
Get
helped
ready.
him exploit girls who were as young as 14 years old.
Did you hear that? That's the trained, the sympathy plea. So this is all garb. It's all rhetoric. Nothing's getting done in this case. Nothing's ever getting done until the people, or the military and the people, go in there and drag these people out by their hair, because she is definitely one of the same crew as Epstein and Maxwell and Jana and Weinstein and blah blah. Who's the other one? Polanski. The list goes on. In fact, we haven't even seen the list yet. And what was it? 20 years in the making, and we haven't seen the list yet.
Ghislaine Maxwell, longtime girlfriend of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, is facing federal charges for her alleged...
So not only is she the girlfriend, but she's actually the madam. So, this is what sort of people you're dealing with. There's no girlfriend about it. It's not girlfriend. She's a bloody hussy. There's not, there's no getting round. She is an absolute bang to rights, stone cold wall, everything. She's been involved literally in child trafficking for sex offences by the world's top brass, or what have become the top brass.
She was being essentially, coerced, forced, threatened to have sex with Jeffrey Epstein, and
So that's just a bit of background. But the one I want to get to is like the spin. There's this spin that they put on it that I was saying yesterday on another video, or an earlier video anyway, whatever. And that is, it's all about attacking Hitler, World War II. And this is what they bring up here, talking about Prince Andrew. And it's not, it's not an uneducated measure. It's a calculated measure to like bring up a particular slice of narrative that they need support with. That, by twisting it to meet this narrative that they're trying to build. Oh, it was this, it was that. Well, what they're saying,
Sever those perjury
I can't
charges
quite find.
from the
I
other
think it
charges
comes up in a minute anyway. Is that they're saying, you know, this is the biggest attack on the British Crown since World War II. And everyone knows that Hitler could have easily took Britain and chose not to, because he's seen them as the highest culturally rich country on the planet, and was totally in high esteem and wasn't at war, never declared war on Britain. It was all, you know. Don't tell me.
Maxwell's indictment.
You're asking, so I think that we can deal with that.
Have I missed it? Have I gone past it?
Arrested her in her house and she...
Oh, it's a nuisance. Sorry about the slow speeds. I'm just on like dial-up. Dial-up's actually faster. I think I measured dial-up was actually faster. Probably not true, but...
we'll do that when...
Anyway, you can see for yourself. It's in this report. Now, he's another one. He's saying, oh, it's an absolute disgrace, blah, blah, blah. But nothing's getting done. No troops are getting rallied. These people should be getting slung, like, into the back of vans. The whole list of them, not one of them should be allowed. If Ghislaine's being held on bail, and why aren't all of them being held on bail? You know, they're all part of what's gone on. Let me just mute this and I'll have my little rant. Wow. See if I find this idiot Charles. What's his name? Andrew. Because meanwhile, Charles has been in Israel, hasn't he? You know, saying, oh, yes, we're the you know, because they're not in the EU now, they're touting for, what's it called? Partners. So Switzerland, no, oh, here it is. Right, let me just hide it up because it comes up in a minute. It's the biggest threat on the Crown since World War II. And they have to get that in because it's going to meet how they bring in the Holocaust to say that, right, is what they're doing. They're saying that it's an attack on the British establishment, the West. You know, it's an attack on the Crown. Like World War II. So us trying to get justice for the children, like, you know, it's the people versus Epstein, isn't it? The people versus Maxwell. So the people is us, isn't it? You know, America doesn't represent the people of America in the main. America represents freedom, liberty, you know, the rights of man. You know, there's a whole diatribe about what America actually represents rather than what we've been presented with. America's the home of the free, and that doesn't necessarily mean the people on the lands of America. Americans are the revolutionaries, the true revolutionaries who have already stamped down the Crown. So you can see how the dialectical narrative is weaving its way to bring in the Holocaust. So that'll be next. Oh, Epstein was a survivor, or this, that, and the other. Maxwell was a survivor, you know. And what is it? The dread, or what is it that they say carries through the DNA? So they say, oh, you know, it's actually the girl's fault.
Andrew, who investigators have been trying to talk to for months.
I'm not going to comment on anyone's status in this investigation, but I will say that we would welcome Prince Andrew coming in to talk with us. We would like to have the benefit of his statement.
I don't know what kind of brokering's going on back there. I do know that the British people are demanding answers. And the health and well-being of...
Right, he was just saying the British people are demanding answers, so he's saying the health and well-being of the Crown.
Monarchy in total is right now under threat more than at any other time since World War II.
See how they cut that in? It's under threat since any time since World War II. Well, if you look back, actually, Edward the Seventh was actually best pals with Adolf Hitler and the whole of the National Social. No one had any beef. It's all been fabricated. The same with America. It was all fabricated. the idea of Britain, America, nationalist China, even communist Russia to a point, because the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, which was signed as a bit of what turned out to be a joke. No one was enemies with Germany. They chose to be enemies with Germany when Germany made moves to enter the Danzig corridor to help the people in Germany. That island up there where, Poland was broken off. There's some serious questions need to be asked about this case, and I don't see anyone asking them. And these are the points that I'd be saying. And he is definitely, like a linchpin, like he's a rallying point, like, to wrap it all round, because who were the big allies of America allying with Russia? Well, his girlfriend is named something Ashkenazi, and she's from Kazakhstan. So it kind of feeds into the fake Khazarian narrative. But that's who his girlfriend is, this woman called Ashkenazi. He's skint, he hasn't got it, well, he probably has loaded, but he's just a bum. This is probably a contractual acting job. Leonardo DiCaprio there. And they're all in on it, aren't they? I was watching that Tarantino, This Is Hollywood, and they spun the narrative on that. Whereas Polanski, child molester, the whole, what's his name, Charlie Manson thing in the family, where they brutally murdered Sharon Tate, the pregnant girl, who just come back from London and France, filming, because like her first films or whatever. And when I say just, over the span of a couple of years, so it's all, they've twisted the narrative. So they've got Brad Pitt, and who's the other Muppet? Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio to play the two main parts in that. But Polanski comes in as the big hero, the big, the big hip flash dude with his girlfriend Sharon Tate, and everything's like, hey, it's cool, man, and all this. And it's like, now they've twisted that narrative deliberately, because Tarantino, he's married to another Epsteinite, isn't he? Anyhow, that's kind of like the skeleton of my arguments anyway. It's not, all is not right in Hollywood. Right, so I'm going to post this later and I'll post it up. Cheers.